Hey, everybody, this is Jimmy. Welcome to another episode of our Cambridge Meet the Candidates series for Cambridge City Council and Cambridge School Committee. Today, we have a first-time candidate running for Cambridge School Committee. Jing is a first-time candidate for the Cambridge School Committee. I'm very excited to talk to her and especially the first-time candidates. We get to learn something about some people who are just putting their hat in the ring for the very first time, what motivates them, their background, etc. So welcome to the show, Jing.
Thank you, Jimmy. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here. I'm excited to share some of my stories, and hopefully that will inspire everyone.
Great. So tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, how long have you lived in Cambridge, why are you running for school committee?
Right. So I was actually born and raised in Malaysia, and I had been living in 5 countries and over 4 continents. I came to Cambridge after completing my doctoral training in Sweden, so that I can start my postdoctoral training here at Harvard Medical School in 2009. And it is also Cambridge where I started my family. I am a mother of 2 children. And both are attending schools here in Cambridge. One of them is a neurodivergent, and one is a quick self-motivated learner. So as of many families who experience navigating the IEP in Cambridge Public School was extremely challenging for our family. So at some point, I had to actually pull him out of school and homeschool him for several years. And also at the same time, because of COVID, my daughter didn't start school until after COVID. So that means I also had to homeschool my daughter. With 2 children homeschooling, that gave me the first-hand experience of a mini representation of what's happening in the Cambridge Public School classroom. Indeed, it is actually very challenging to instruct and teach for teachers to teach diverse learners in a classroom. So that formed the first part of the story. The second part of the story was my daughter was happily attending a neighborhood school here, but the school was closed recently, the Kennedy Longfellow. So throughout that process, I was advocating for many families who are non-native speakers, and also who did not have the time and resources to navigate during the transition period. So I was in the transition advisory team, so representing them and to communicate with the district to make sure that they have a smooth transition. But during that process, I encountered a lot of first-hand systemic issues of the district where there was lack of transparency, lack of communication, and lack of accountability. So that's the second main reason I'm running. But the third main reason is we are going in the wrong direction for our education. The education these days in our public school is focusing too much on one-size-fits-all approach, where that means we have the resources, which is a good thing, but at the same time, we are spending the money buying 7,000 one-size T-shirt for all kids. So obviously, many kids are not able to fit into that one size. So that's the third part of the story. So I'm proposing that we need to address this issue to move away from the one-size-fits-all approach, which we will be talking in later on.
Okay, well, great. And that's a very interesting story. Several continents, several countries, you're a world traveler for sure. And welcome to the People's Republic of Cambridge, because we are a very diverse community, as you see. Tell me, so if you were elected to the Cambridge School Committee, what are some of the top 2 or 3 issues that you would focus on? What would you hope to accomplish?
So definitely we need to improve the student services, not just for the special needs services, but across for all children. So I'm running on 3 core values: the equity, which is to ensure all students, no matter their background or ability, are seen, valued, and supported. And access to remove the barrier, financial, linguistic, structural, and social emotional, that too often keep students from fully participating in the school. Achievement. So we should go beyond test score to nurture lifelong learners who are curious, confident, and prepared for life challenges, which is so predictable, and we experience that now firsthand, right? So these are the main thing that overall I want to achieve. And so that means to provide a holistic education, excellent academics, but also coupled with mental well-being and life skills. And as I mentioned, along with other communities, also experience the frustrations of lack of communication and transparency in the system. So we need to better improve this communication and transparency. That means we need to ensure all voices, students, and those supporting our students, that means their families, educators, staff, and the communities are heard, forming a partnership, family engagement, good practices in the system. And also specifically, that means we need to also evaluate our ongoing policies, especially the controlled choice enrollment policy, the school committee meeting format, the innovation agenda that we implemented but that did not seem to be going on well, and we need to evaluate that, and the hiring and evaluation practices in the district. So I also want to mention, to add on to why I want to run, is because I lived in different countries and continents, so I was exposed to various education systems, so I know what work and what fail. So, and with my exposure to diversity, I understand how it is to navigate into a new place with a new system as a foreigner. So that's something that I'm able to bring in as a new perspective, new blood to the school committee to better serve our communities who are so diverse.
Tell me, um, when it comes to the communication component, are you talking about the language one-on-one with parents to the administration, or parents to teachers, language barriers there? Or are you talking about general communication from the city or the school committee to all of the parents at the same time? Uh, and and are you advocating for more teachers or school uh, public school administrators who are fluent in several languages so that they're better able to communicate? Or how would you see that communication improving?
Okay, so thank you for asking this question. It's a it's a great question when we talk about communication. There are multiple facets on this, but what I'm generally referring to is communication, as in we need to make sure the content, what we want to communicate out to the rest, to all stakeholders, are being delivered. The messages are being delivered. That means we need to remove the language barrier, the cultural presentation barrier as well. So that's one big scoop. But most importantly, there's a second perspective, which is when we talk about communication, it should be ongoing dialogue. It's not just one way presenting the information, which the city as well as our schools have neglected. We often thought, oh, we just get some translators and present the information we want to present, and that's it. That's the first step, but that's not all. So we need to give the opportunities for ongoing dialogues, engaging all stakeholders of all communities. In the school's perspective, that means the families of the students. And also we need to have educators feedback, because educators are the one who has firsthand knowledge of what's happening on the ground with our students. So their feedback is actually very important in shaping educational direction and policy. And also we have Cambridge, we have smart, dedicated, talented people here who have a lot to offer to support our school system. So we also want to engage our community members, the local institutions or individuals who have a lot of experience and knowledge. So my logo, I'm not sure if you can see it, a fairy
I can't see it.
with a lighthouse and different, oh, you can't see it. Probably you can see it now, a fairy um, with a lighthouse and different people on board. So the lighthouse is actually the school committee giving the direction, or these days we probably also need compass, giving the direction. And the captain of the vessel is the superintendent, and various crews on the vessel, they are the staffs and educators. And then the passengers obviously are the students. And of course, along the shores and before and departure and also arrival, there are people on the shore receiving and sending off the passengers. They are the community members and the families, the caregivers. So, in order to have a very successful voyage, a happy, safe, successful voyage journey, we need to engage everyone to make sure this works. And also, there's another metaphor for this. If there is a tiny hole somewhere at the vessel, it's not going to work, because even people might be thinking, oh, we are that tiny hole, it's so far away from us, we should be safe. It's actually not safe. Eventually, that will affect the journey and might even capsize the whole vessel. So that means we cannot neglect even one student among the 7,000 students. We need to make sure every student's need is supported.
Okay, great. So let me ask you, Cambridge currently spends, I think, as more than any other school district in the state, the highest amount of money per capita student. Are you advocating for more resources per student, or are you advocating for we can do more with what we have?
So I'm advocating for making sure the resources are appropriate for our directly directed to our students, all our students. Having more resources, of course, is great, but we also have to be realistic. And we want to make sure every dollar the taxpayers contribute, it's not going to waste. That means we need to make sure the efficiency and making sure that the resources are really directly benefiting our learners, and not go to somewhere else. So this is something that we need to be caution and mindful and constantly evaluate as we make the budget. And also not just making the budget. Often I think we pay attention to the budget, which is important, but we also need to look at the end how much we actually spend and where they are spent and whether they really deliver the goal of serving all our students. So that has not really been focused on. And that's also something I want to focus on when I'm in the office.
Okay, great. We're coming to the end of the interview, but I have a question that I'm very curious about, and then we'd like you to tell us where people can get in touch with you, your website and everything else. My question is, you went to all these different school systems around the world, and just briefly, which school
Yes.
system do you think was the most effective, and what was their process? Briefly, which country do you think did the best, and why? And just in a brief minute.
Okay. So all systems have their goods and bads. And I'm saying this not because I want to be diplomatic. It is true. There's no one system that is perfect. So what we should be doing, and we are able to do that in Cambridge, is to actually we have a good system here in terms of encouraging creativity, critical thinking, curiosity. Look at the institutions we have, Harvard and MIT. We are at the forefront of technology and science and medicine. We need to keep that. But these days, when we are so much test-driven focused, we are taking kids away from critical thinking and curiosity. So we need to change that back to really encouraging students how to learn, not about just taking in information.
Okay, great.
So
Thank you.
that's a good part. And also yes. Okay.
Thank you. So how can people find out about you, volunteer for your campaign, or perhaps make a large donation?
Okay, so I am running this as a mother, not just for my kids, but for all kids. So that means I'm actually self funding because I'm so passionate in really wanting to make sure advocate for every students. But of course, I would appreciate if you agree with my vision and my value. Please spread the word, give me your number one vote, and also host a sign as you have some signs. And you can visit my website, judgingly.com, and all my social media, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, TikTok. I make educational video about education, public school, parenting, and ongoing issues related to our district. And I also share some interesting observation in my daily life.
Great. Jing Lee, thank you so much for joining us. Best of luck on the campaign trail. Best of luck on November 4th. And I just want to thank you for joining us and thank you for running for office here in Cambridge.
Thank you, Jimmy. It's a pleasure talking to you, and thank you all for listening.
You're welcome.